everyone. Tracy here with the Oasis for Natural Healing. So, I am so excited. We're going to talk a little bit about quantum nutrition testing for pets and skin issues in your pets, digestive issues in your pets, and even seizures in your pets. So, let me preface I am not a vet, okay? Don't play one on TV. However, I have worked closely. So, my pets, I had been seeing a holistic veterinarian who did muscle testing for my pets for quite a long time. And then I also got certified in muscle testing for pets that was taught by a holistic veterinarian. So, as a pet health coach, that's what I'm offering. So, again, I am not your vet. Don't play one on TV, but I'm just sharing with you what I've seen in my office and some of the results and some of the things that my patients have shared with me. So one of my patients is bringing her dog. It's an older dog, about 13 and a half years, Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix. And she's been having a lot of digestive issues and kidney issues. And she had a lot of problems with bladder stones and things like that, really itchy skin. And the vets recommended, and she's been on the same food for a very, very long time. So Royal Canine, and specifically for the urinary system. She's had bladder stones, like I mentioned, and she needed surgery and all these things. And her digestive issues have not been really great. She was waking her mom up, every 2 to 3 hours to go to the bathroom, just itching a lot, scratching, chewing on her paw, and things like that. So we talked significantly about diet. I had my patient look at the Dr. Karen Becker. There is a really good book that I highly recommend. It's called The Forever Dog. Highly recommend it. Dr. Karen Becker also has really good YouTube videos on the best and worst pet foods for your pet, for cats and dogs. So highly recommend watching that. Now, again, I'm not your vet, but I typically, what I recommend and what I've done with my own pets is I feed raw. I do feed raw. A lot of conventional veterinarians will disagree with feeding raw food for your pets. My holistic vet that I've seen and the multiple holistic vets that I've seen all recommend raw food. And quite honestly, feeding raw food, I've never had to have my dog's teeth cleaned. I feed them raw chicken thighs. I make sure that they, good quality chicken, good quality beef and things like that. But they chew on raw bones. So raw bones are actually really, really, really healthy for their teeth and their gums. Obviously, you want size appropriate ones. So you don't want to be giving you just want to make sure that they're not going to try to swallow it whole. You want them to be crunching on the bones. Okay. So, but as long as it's raw food, it's raw and it's not cooked, the cooked bones can splinter. So we do raw, and they get the crunching mechanism. That crunching, there's good nutrition in bone marrow. It cleans the teeth off. It is so good for them. So I give raw bones to my dogs. My cats don't like it so much, but my dogs do. And I've never really had to have my dog's teeth cleaned. My dogs don't have skin issues. They don't have skin allergies. They barely get sick. So like I said, I typically recommend raw. You have to make sure that whatever raw food that you feed has organ meat, and you're giving some sort of bone or bone supplement. So you can buy raw food there's a company called My Pet Carnivore that has, whole ground beef, whole ground, duck, things like that. So it's going to have all the meat, the muscle meat, the organ meat, the bone in the right portion. And then you just buy it frozen. And then you can add whatever supplements, or if you want to add veggies, you can add veggies or fruits or whatever you want to do. Okay. So, but I get my raw food from My Pet Carnivore. I love the company and they have some really, really good stuff. So whatever, again, a lot of times traditional vets will not recommend raw food. My holistic vets have all recommended this. And if you want more into it, look up the Forever Dog, do some YouTube videos on Dr. Karen Becker. Um, so that being said, so my patient, has a 13-and-a-half-year-old Chihuahua Shih Tzu mix who has had, like I said, bladder stones, a lot of gut issues, would wake up, pet mom, several times a night to go to the bathroom. So she was every 2 to 3 hours, she would have to go to the bathroom. And so I suggested after she do her own research for her to switch over to either a dehydrated raw. And if you do a dehydrated raw, you have to reconstitute it with good quality water or raw food. So her dog did not like raw food. But she loves the dehydrated raw. I said, perfect, great. So she's been with me for about 2 weeks. And what we found through muscle testing, through quantum nutrition testing, is that this little girl has parasites. And actually, let me pull up. So she's got parasites and she's got some heavy metals and she's got some food intolerances. So she's coming up for grains, colors. So food dyes, white rice, brown rice, corn, oats, cane sugar. So a lot of times our conventional foods that we feed dogs, like treats and stuff like that, they can have like hidden ingredients and they're not the best quality. Sometimes the food stuff, the pet industry food is actually worse than the human industry for food. I sometimes don't know how that's possible, but yes, it can be. And so we have to really watch what we're giving our dogs. And again, it looks like it can be healthy, but it's not really healthy for them. Really, in all honesty, no animal needs any type of grain. No corn, no wheat, no rice. That can cause, just like it can in people, it can cause a lot of inflammation and a lot of skin issues. So this poor little girl was having some food intolerances. So instead of going after the parasites right away, we started prepping her body. So we're not going after the parasites just yet. But by changing up her food, by adding some digestive enzymes, by giving some nutrients to her body, and then by opening up her drainage pathways, in less than 2 weeks, she's no longer itching. It is so good to hear. I love hearing these kind of wins, especially for our fur kids. So sometimes we've been, the wool has been pulled over our eyes, with our pet health just as much as it is with our human health. And so we added some digestive enzymes. We opened up and are supporting her drainage pathway so she can eliminate toxins before we really go after toxins, so her body can eliminate them. Changed up her food a little bit. So after mom did some research and verified what I was saying was true, because again, I'm not a vet, so I like pet moms to do all of their research. And in less than 2 weeks, instead of her dog waking mom up every 2 to 3 hours to go to the bathroom, we are now getting a full 5 hours in between going to the bathroom. Okay, so what would that do for your sleep? Can you imagine like not having to wake up every 2 to 3 hours to take your dog out to go to the bathroom and now being able to sleep a solid 5 hours in between bathroom times? That's huge in just 2 weeks. And we're not even going after everything just yet, which is pretty darn amazing. So I'm so excited to hear about that. Now, we got to talking and she goes, I forgot to tell you something. I said, what? And she goes, well, she said, my puppy, my dog, used to have seizures. And I think that this is actually really important to share for everybody else. So, and I said, oh, I said, is she still having them? And she goes, no. She goes, I thought it was from a head injury because she was really, really wiggly as a puppy and she fell out of my arms and she hit her head. And so I thought it was from the injury. She goes, it wasn't. She goes, those greenie treats, the little things to chew to give fresh breath. And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, I was giving that to her and I thought the seizures were from like the head fall, when she fell and hit her head when she was a baby, when she squirmed out of my arms. And she goes, but last year I forgot why she said she stopped. So I literally have just been seeing the puppy for now 2 weeks. But she goes, "Last year I stopped giving her greenies, and that was the last time she had a seizure." I said, "Interesting." And she goes, I actually mentioned this to some of my, like, family members and friends who are also giving greenies." And she goes, "I just happened to ask, hey, does your dog have seizures?" And they all said yes. And she goes, "You might want to stop giving greenies because my dog's seizure stopped after I gave them greenies." So, and I just went to go look at the ingredient list because, like I said, sometimes dog treats are more toxic than the human garbage that we eat, like, which is so sad. And I couldn't find anything except for the polysorbate, or potassium sorbate, which is a preservative in there. It looks like it might be the only questionable thing on there. Now, I looked up the side effects from potassium sorbate. It didn't say seizures, but it did have a whole bunch of other issues, including skin issues, gut issues, including, like, gastrointestinal issues and things like that. And she goes, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense on why she was having so many digestive issues as a baby." She goes, "I didn't realize it caused all that." I said, "No, people don't." I'm like, just they don't with human food. We read a label and we think that it's healthy, but it's actually really not. It can cause so many issues. So we really got to get to be good health detectives and look on our ingredient list, including for our dogs. So some real quick tips and this is what I learned from my holistic vet and from doing quantum nutrition testing for pets taught by a holistic vet. So no grains whatsoever. Dogs, cats do not need sugar. Cats are strictly a carnivore animal. Dogs can have a little bit more, like, vegetables and a little bit of fruits, but again, minimal. They mostly need, the muscle meat. You need to be making sure that if you're going to transition to a raw food, and if you're going to be making your own home cooked food, make sure that you're giving organ meat, such as heart, kidney, liver, things like that. Even pancreas can be really, really beneficial, or find a supplement that does, like, encapsulated organ meat into a capsule, because there are some out there that have all, like, a full range of organ meat in a supplement capsule. So you want to do something along those lines. So, or you want to make sure that you're giving proper organ meat. You want to make sure that they're getting proper calcium, and especially heart. Oh my gosh, why is my mind drawing blank? My mind is literally, and I can picture the word. So it is a nutrient found in heart muscle that dogs and cats absolutely need. They cannot live without it. So make sure that you are giving, either you need to replace that nutrient, or you need to be giving, like, dehydrated heart or raw heart. You cannot not give that to your dog. Oh, it's taurine. I knew I would remember it. So taurine is really, really important, and the highest concentration is found in heart muscle. So you need to, if you're going to be making your own food, making sure. So now, like I said, I like My Pet Carnivore because you can buy, like, and they ground up the meat for you, but it's like whole prey. So it's like the organ meat from cows. You could do, like, beef, you could do duck. So they have, like, and you can buy different proteins. So, and each protein has its own nutritional value to it too. So, like, I switch up my dog's protein. I don't give them the same thing over and over and over again. So I will switch up between pork, between rabbit, and I muscle test my dog to see which proteins she can handle and which ones she cannot. So right now, she cannot handle chicken. Her body does not like chicken. Her body does not like mutton, which is an older lamb. So she doesn't like lamb either. And she does not like goat. So we don't give goat. But My Pet Carnivore has all these things. But with quantum nutrition testing, we can actually test to see which protein her body actually wants, so that way she doesn't have any inflammation. So, but I like My Pet Carnivore. There's other ones out there too. As soon as I remember the name, I haven't gone to them in a while, but I will try putting them in the comment section, the names of the companies, and you can order and it can be shipped directly to your house, which I like. You know, you can go to some pet boutique stores and sometimes they have it. Stella and Chewy's has either dehydrated raw, like I said, which you want to constitute, and it's already has like all the nutrients in there. So it's a balanced nutrient. I think Spot, SPOT, is another um, raw food company that you can get, and that has like all the nutrients in there too. So it's already pre-made. You like, just to give you a heads up, you know, if you're buying from a company that already is going to pre-make these things, you're going to be spending more money. So, like I like to just get from My Pet Carnivore, and like what I'll do is, so Standard Process has a really good supplement, Canine Whole Body, which kind of fills in the missing gap of anything that the dog is missing. So, and it's a powdered supplement that you can add to the food. So just to make sure that there's no missing gap, you know, in nutrients. So you can go ahead and do that as well and that's from Standard Process. And I really like that company a lot. And that's where, like, so I add that a little bit and then some other supplements too. And then I'm trying to think, Instinct is also a good raw brand. I think you can find that over at, you know, PetSmart, Petco, things like that. I'm trying to think. So Spot, Stella and Chewy's, Instinct, My Pet Carnivore. My Pet Carnivore, like I said, you have to add the nutrients in. I mean, but if it's like got all the raw, like all the organ meat and stuff, don't forget, like the liver, the heart has so many vitamin B's, and like those are some really nutritionally dense organs where they have vitamins and minerals and things like that. So in a lot of times, if you're getting like whole prey and it has all the organ meat in there, they're not really going to be that nutritionally imbalanced. So they're going to get a lot of their nutrients from just eating that. And just to make sure that you're not missing anything, like I said, you can add, it's not going to hurt them by any means. You can add in like canine whole body support from Standard Process. So that's a really good one too. But yeah, so if you guys, you know, have any pets, you know, that you're having issues with, and you maybe want a little bit like a direction to go, you can call us for a free discovery phone call, 708-694-4092, and sign up for a free 10-minute discovery phone call, either for yourself or your pets. Otherwise, I don't know. There is a holistic veterinarian website that you can look up and see if there's a holistic vet in your area. Hang on. I'm going to flip screens and just look that up real quick. Holistic veterinarian. Hang on. Give me a second. I'm actually Google searching. There's a website. Let me see. It is the AHV. So A is in Apple, H is in Henry, V is in Victor, M is in Mary, A is in Apple. So .org. And it is a vet finder, and stands for the American Holistic Veterinarian Medicine Association, to find a holistic veterinarian in your area. So you can do it that way too. All right. So, but otherwise, we're available for a free 10-minute discovery phone call if you're interested.